I'm Joshua Patterson, and this is a Service Please Snack with Kate Hamilton, co-founder of the exceptional communications agency Sonder Tell. For me, it was like within food, I always had this like affinity and a love for like watching Jamie Oliver on the TV, and I just absolutely used to love it and used to go home or being at home and like getting these things and practicing. And I can remember his restaurant opened in Oxford, and I was like studying at Portsmouth at the time, and I was like, I've got to get this job, I've got to get this job. I need to be learning and being involved and like in the mixer and just like developing myself more within that kind of space. And I just like found so many people that I loved and care about, and it was just fantastic. And for you, I'd just be really intrigued to know, like, was it a similar journey with like literature and writing and reading that like from a particular point you were just like, I'm just in awe of this and I just need to like embrace it and just be within it?
I'm not sure that there was one moment. I kind of can't remember a time when I wasn't into that and wasn't sort of processing things through language and stories. And I just, growing up, I was maybe slightly like indoorsy child, like wasn't that into the kind of ball sports sort of world. I mean, even now someone throws me a ball, I'm like, panic goes through me. So it was much more, you know, inside, reading after school, and it was just like always such a pleasure. And I think it was kind of the world building element of it and total escapism that I really enjoyed. And I think my parents really encouraged it as well. I was thinking about this the other day because I almost think it was a way for them to be like, oh, go and do this. But I remember one time, my dad's Irish and we were in Ireland on a family holiday, and for whatever reason the train broke down, and we'd been there for like an hour. Kids were getting really stressed, and my dad was like, okay, why don't you write a story about it? And it was actually such a good tactic from him, being like, here's a notebook and pen, why don't you write a story about the experience rather than annoy us? So yeah, I think I was always reading, kind of writing things in notebooks, recording things. I also had a radio show, which was just me kind of saying things into cassettes and interviewing like my Beanie Babies and things like that. So I think it was always that, enjoyed kind of reading, writing, recording, and having kind of imaginary conversations with people too.
Please tell me you put the cassettes like onto something and you have them somewhere, just like a monologue of you being like, now. So where are you going? Were you like
putting on all these different accents and things, yeah. I need to, with the kind of, I had this like Daisy cassette recorder, but yeah, it was fun.
I love that. So I guess really, there's so many bodies of work from like incredible people, and I'm sure there's lots of them that inspire you, and they have individual pieces that you just probably go back to time and time again. So is there anything in particular about any writer that really draws you in that you can like reference or think of for you?
I think with any kind of story that I like, it's the kind of world building element, so that kind of painting a picture of a scene or a place where when you read it you're just transported somewhere else. And it's not just literature either, you know, you can get it from movies or a piece of music. I watched Dune the other day and I was like absolutely obsessed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and as you know, and you're just like, I just want to be in it. So that kind of like real creation of magical worlds, I think, was what initially drew me to storytelling and still does today. And I mean, it's relevant in a brand context too, and we'll get onto that later. I think in terms of specific writers who do that well, I don't think that to create a world with language you need to kind of be overly verbose or like wordy necessarily. I actually am more drawn to people who write in quite a kind of sparse, like pared back way. I guess someone like Sally Rooney, or I really like short stories for that, like really like Lydia Davis, another writer called Lucia Berlin, who have kind of quite short, punchy sentences, and it's almost like things happen between the lines, and it's not overly descriptive or flowery, and I think it kind of sets the scene in this way that then lets your imagination fill in the in-betweens. And again, I think that sort of relates to copywriting and what I do now, because in general the rules, like if you can say it or achieve what you want to achieve and build the emotion you want to build with fewer words, and that's probably the best way to do it. So things that aren't overdone but convey enough emotion for you to then take it, get a sense of the world, and then make it your own too.
I hope you enjoyed that Service Please snack from the full meal. If you're enjoying Service Please, interacting with the channel in any way has a massive effect, either by subscribing, liking, or even commenting on future episodes and topics you'd like to hear spoken about. I'm Joshua Patterson, and that was the Service Please snack.